I'm Chef Jasper, and today we're in the kitchen preparing one of my favorite Asian dishes ever, twice cooked pork. When I go to a Chinese restaurant, I always make sure that's on the menu. And I'm telling you, it's not as difficult to prepare as you think. And really some basic ingredients, some maybe a little more difficult, but one I absolutely love, aubergine. This is a broad bean base, and some soy and some peppers, and oh my gosh, this just makes the sauce right here. So let's get started. Now, two stages in this sauce, in this whole dish. The first part of the dish, actually, we're going to actually boil some pork steaks. That's right. You get the pork steaks just like this. You can buy them in the grocery, of course, meat department. Several ways to cut them. I'll show you some simple ways. But right now, let's just concentrate on boiling this with some green onions and some Sichuan peppercorns. Now, if you look at this meat here, you'll notice there's not a lot of fat on here. Maybe, I would say maybe 25 or 30% maybe is a little bit too much. So do a little trimming if you want, but I want some of that on there. All right, we have our boiling water already going here, just a quarter, so that's all you need. Let's place that in there. This is the part when we talk about twice cooked. See, I've already trimmed some of that. We'll put that to the side. A couple of green onions. Let's just cut those in half. And some garlic cloves. Now, I'm going to use some of this garlic also in the dish, but let's just cut those and kind of get them ready and prepare them along with our Sichuan peppercorns. And depending on how you want, how spicy you want this dish, that really depends on how much you want to actually put in there. Now, no salt at all at this point. Let's just put a lid on this and let it go maybe for about 15 or 20 minutes at the most, then we'll take it out and cool it. All right, now we've boiled the pork, I've let it cool, and now we're gonna slice it. So we wanna slice it almost paper thin. And a lot of people ask you, different cuts that you wanna use. Originally, this was pork belly. And what they would do, the Sichuan, would actually get this and not only slice it like I'm doing, but they would also use it because it was a preserved meat. They like the pork belly now, and I think it's almost a little more flavor. I'm not saying that pork belly doesn't have, not as much flavor as the pork steaks, but that's a whole nother controversy, and you could talk about that for hours. But the pork belly is actually the preserved. Salt pork also, but there's just not enough meat on there, for that. But be creative. And if you want a thicker cut, just ask the butcher. That's up to you. I like the thin little pieces to work with. I like a little bite to it. Now, another thing when you're slicing this, don't forget that, you're going to cook this again. So I do cut it a little bit thicker than I normally would if I was slicing, because I'm going to lose maybe a little bit of it. I don't want it to just curl up on me. But you know what? It's all going to taste the same, and it's just going to be just great. And another thing, be creative with this once you start preparing the dish with your vegetables. I love escarole. I love bok choy. Cabbage is great in here also. That's up to you. So broccoli, of course. Carrots, oh my. Water chestnuts. I mean, you think about it, the list is almost endless. All right, let's get our wok. Put it on here. Put a little bit of peanut oil. I like the peanut oil. That's up to you also. Just enough to cover the bottom. Remember, we're going to cook this twice, of course. Now, this is the second part of this. But with these woks, this oil will kind of spread just like that. You got that? Look at that. Just like that. Now we've covered the area that I want to prepare the dish in. And I don't know, maybe another 15 seconds or so. And we're just about ready. So I have my other ingredients also. But let's get the pork actually twice cooked. And then we'll take this out. And do we season this? Do we put any salt in here? Not really. We have enough seasoning and and everything else going on a little later. Now we don't really want to brown it, but cook it just enough again to give it a little, a little crunch maybe, you may say, because we don't want it flat. We don't want it, it's not going to be soggy at all, believe me. And my secret with this, you never want anything to stick to a pan, but here we're okay in working with the wok. So believe me, it's not going to stick to the pan, but let it get a little crispy on there. It may take a few minutes. That's what it's all about. That's the name, twice cooked. And that's another thing about this dish. The peasants would actually do this and prepare this dish because what they were doing, they were actually worshiping with the original pork belly, and they preserve it. And then they would cook it a second time. And that was like giving thanks that they had it available to them, but also that they were worshiping, and they were, kind of like, hey, it's something that we gave up, and now we're going to eat it again. So dried pork, dried beef will not work. A lot of people think, because, it's something that you preserve, that's not going to work. This is what we're supposed to do, and this is along the original recipe. There we go. All right. See what I'm talking about? Look at that right there. That's what you're looking for. So we'll let this sit here for a minute. And remember, it looks kind of a grayish color right now, but that's okay because once we put this sauce and get everything going here, it's going to be just perfect. Another thing about the Sichuans, they love their pork. A lot of people don't realize that when you go to an Asian restaurant, and you think you have chicken this or beef broccoli, something like that. But the Sichuan area, that was also called the land of the pigs, and a lot of history there. And so the land of pigs, that's kind of obvious. That's what we're going to have is a lot of pork. There we go. You could turn the heat up a little bit more if you like. If you really want to get a lot of heat going on this, that's fine. All right. We're just a few minutes away at the most. Look at that. That's beautiful right there. And see, I cut the pork up a little bit, so a little bit thicker, but I just want to show you, I cut it thick, but let me tell you how tender it is. Look at this. I cut it with a spoon. So it's going to be flavorful and nice and tender. All right. Let's get this. Don't worry about the oil because I'm using the same oil in this pan. I'll add a little bit more to finish cooking with. Okay, now I'm going to have to add a little more oil, of course. So we'll add a little bit to this. And then let's get started here. I love the green onions, so come on, we need some green onions in here. We'll dice a little bit here at the end of this because we like that part. And then the rest, we'll just cut at an angle here. No waste at all. That's number one, okay? I have also today some beautiful escarole. Oh my. And this, I like the crispy part. Don't forget, we don't want to throw anything away, so I have a lot of that. Look at this beautiful escarole. This cooks very, very quickly. A lot of people boil the escarole. I don't think I need to boil this at all. This is like baby escarole. All right, I have some fresh ginger. I have some garlic cloves. Here we go. And you're going to see a little splatter here because my oil is about ready. I love that garlic in here. We're going to start with that and get everything going. There we go. Now we're popping. This is fun. I love this. Put all of this in there. Let that work. Get all that flavor going. Of course, ginger, oh my. That just gives us some great flavor. Red pepper, we're gonna need some. I know we already got the Sichuan peppercorns in that pork, but doesn't matter. So I'm gonna add a little more Sichuan peppercorn here too. Right now, a little crunchy. It's good with the oil. That chili crunchy oil is hot right now. Boy, people love it. And look how quickly this is cooking. Just perfect. In the meantime, I've boiled a little rice. I've set that aside. It's gonna make the perfect dish. And as you can see, we're not into a lot of difficult cooking here. This is going by pretty quickly. All right. Look how quickly this cooked, and of course, we want it to stay a little crunchy. Let's start working with our sauce. I kind of just put this all to the side here. That's what I love about the wok. Still have the heat going right here. Ah, the gochujang. This is where it's at. This is our whole base. This makes the whole dish. A little bit of soy sauce, of course, and put some up here also. A little bit of sugar. Yes, you need the sugar. The bell peppers now. Why? Because I want them extra crunchy. Okay. This is it. And now, I mean, to be honest with you, when you smell, if you and you go to an Asian restaurant and you have twice cooked pork and double cooked pork, whatever they call it on the menu, that is the flavor, that the taste, the smell that I'm getting right now. And it's really all because of this right here. That bean paste, just it really makes a difference. At this point, we'll add our twice cooked pork. Give this all a toss. Now, it looked like I put a lot of vegetables in there, didn't it? I mean, think about it. Maybe you thought I had too much. A nice coating. And really, we're there. That is it. Think about it. It looked like a lot of ingredients, but wasn't that quick? Oh, I know it's delicious. Serve this on a bed of rice, and we have one dish that I'll be honored and proud to serve my family and friends. Hey, it may not be something you want to cook every night. Of course, you think it's going to be difficult, but I'm telling you, everyone's going to love this dish. We have our rice. This is perfect. And let's put this together very quickly. So a little trick here. Fill this up. Kind of pat this down a little bit. That's all we have to do. In your glass. And then, how about this? You're watching me? Come on. Is that not easy or what? Move that to the side a little bit. Oh, yeah. There we go. I'll leave some of that rice without anything on it. And I'm telling you, it makes for a perfect meal that everyone is going to enjoy. Try it. I guarantee you're going to love it. Brought to you by Hen House Markets.